Serious sports fans know this gut-wrenching truth. One split-second hit can change a game, a season, or even a career. And this is the part most people miss. Behind every highlight reel is a young athlete whose health can be altered in an instant. Jeremy Langlois, a freshman defenseman for the number 10 Maine Black Bears, left the ice on a stretcher after a violent collision in a 3-0 road win over Boston College on November 23rd, turning a statement victory into a deeply unsettling night. The injury occurred after a heavy check from Boston College's Brady Berard, leaving players, coaches, and fans frozen in silence for around 10 tense minutes as medical staff rushed in. Early indications pointed to a possible concussion, and while Langlois was conscious and able to move his arms and legs, the severity of the head impact immediately raised serious concern. What exactly happened on the ice? Late in the third period, with 8:46 left on the clock, Langlois went hard into the corner to play the puck and absorbed a powerful shoulder-to-shoulder hit from Berard that sent him crashing awkwardly toward the boards. His head struck the ice with alarming force, and he stayed down, motionless, as the arena atmosphere shifted from competitive intensity to shock. In moments like this, everyone instantly understands the stakes. Both benches went still, and the focus moved entirely from the scoreboard to the player lying on the ice. Trainers and medical staff quickly entered the playing surface with emergency equipment and began carefully assessing Langlois, who remained down as both teams took a knee in support and concern. After several long minutes that felt much longer than the game clock suggested, a stretcher was brought out and Langlois was secured and transported off the ice with great caution. Reports after the game noted that he was conscious and able to move his extremities, which is encouraging in situations involving potential head and neck trauma, though the possibility of a concussion remained very real. Reactions from the benches and coaches after the game. Maine head coach Ben Barr shared that Langlois was able to move his arms and legs, offering a bit of relief on a night otherwise overshadowed by fear over the freshman's health. Boston College head coach Greg Brown commented that it appeared Langlois' head absorbed a significant impact, reflecting the shared concern on both sides for the player's well-being. Both coaches described the moment as scary and unsettling, emphasizing that no matter how competitive the matchup, safety takes priority when an athlete does not get up right away. In situations like this, coaches often walk a fine line between optimism and realism, and that seemed to be the tone here. Cautious hopefulness mixed with the understanding that head injuries can be unpredictable. The shared empathy between the two benches showed how quickly rivalry fades when a serious injury occurs. That kind of unity is powerful, but it also raises a tough question. If everyone agrees these moments are terrifying, what more should be done to prevent them? Maine's performance on an emotional night. On the scoreboard, Maine delivered a near-perfect road performance, but the story of the night became much larger than the final result. Still, it is worth noting that the Black Bears executed at a high level in a difficult environment, both before and after the incident. Freshman goaltender Mathis Rousseau was outstanding, turning aside all 21 Boston College shots to earn the first shutout of his college career. Offensively, Maine got the job done with timely scoring and strong special teams play. Miguel Marquez led the way with 2 goals, giving the Black Bears critical separation, while Josh Nadeau added another, including a short-handed marker that helped tilt momentum firmly in Maine's favor. In doing so, Maine snapped Boston College's 5-game winning streak and secured its first win in the last 7 games played at Conti Forum, salvaging a split in the weekend series after dropping the opening game 7-3. Key stats and game flow. The stat sheet tells the story of a road team that stayed efficient and composed, even as the home side generated chances. Final score, Maine 3, Boston College 0. Shots on goal. Boston College actually outshot Maine 21-19, but could not solve Rousseau in net. Goaltending. Rousseau stopped all 21 shots he faced, while BC's netminder, Cloutier, recorded 16 saves on 19 attempts. Series result. Maine earned a 1-1 split for the series, while Boston College dropped the set after having previously built strong momentum. Location. The game took place at Conti Forum in Chestnut Hill, where Maine had struggled in recent years before this win. Maine struck quickly, with Marquez scoring just 1:32 into the opening period, setting the tone in hostile territory. Nadeau's shorthanded goal later in the first extended the lead and delivered a psychological blow to BC's power play, while a third-period insurance marker gave Maine all the cushion it needed. From there, disciplined team defense and Rousseau's calm presence ensured that Boston College never truly mounted a serious comeback threat. NCAA concussion protocol and rising safety concerns. This incident is a stark reminder of how punishing modern hockey can be, especially at high levels of competition where players are bigger, stronger, and faster than ever. College hockey has increasingly emphasized player safety, particularly regarding brain health, and the NCAA has formal protocols in place when a concussion is suspected. Under these guidelines, any athlete believed to have sustained a concussion must go through a supervised step-by-step return-to-play process and cannot resume practice or competition until cleared by a qualified physician. A hit like the one on Langlois underscores how legal checks can still produce dangerous outcomes. Body checks along the boards remain part of the game's physical identity, but they also carry elevated risk because the boards and ice do not give way. Teams and governing bodies must constantly evaluate whether the balance between physical intensity and player protection is where it should be. The emotional reactions from both benches, describing the situation as scary and deeply unsettling, illustrate how fragile that balance can feel in real time. Positive signs and lingering uncertainty. The encouraging news from the ice was that Langlois remained conscious and could move his limbs, which are important indicators that there was at least some immediate neurological function intact. In moments like this, teammates, coaches, and families cling to those small positives, even as bigger questions remain. Still, any significant blow to the head demands a slow, careful approach, and the true impact of such an injury often only becomes clear over days or even weeks. Concussions can be tricky because symptoms sometimes appear later or fluctuate over time, ranging from headaches and dizziness to sensitivity to light, mood changes, or difficulty concentrating. That is why patience is essential, both for the athlete and the program. The coming days will likely involve testing, monitoring, and professional evaluation before any decisions about his return are considered. For a freshman just beginning his college career, long-term health has to come first, even if it means a prolonged absence from the lineup. What's next for Maine and Boston College? In the standings, the game represents a meaningful step forward for Maine. The win moved the Black Bears to 8-1 overall and 5-3 in Hockey East play, positioning them solidly in the conference mix. They now have a weekend off before hosting rival New Hampshire on December 5-6, a matchup that carries emotional and competitive weight. The shutout performance by Rousseau also sends a strong message that Maine has reliable goaltending depth behind its usual starter. For Boston College, the loss drops the Eagles to 7-1 overall, with the same 5-3 conference record, halting the momentum of a 5-game winning streak. They have little time to dwell on the setback, with a home game against Notre Dame scheduled for Friday at 1 p.m., forcing them to quickly regroup mentally and tactically. One could argue that this kind of adversity can either derail a team or sharpen its focus. How BC responds may reveal a lot about its character and resilience. The impact of Langlois' absence and team development. The biggest roster question moving forward revolves around Langlois' health and availability. Losing a freshman defenseman is not just a short-term depth issue. It can affect long-term development on the blue line. First-year defenders often log crucial minutes as they adjust to the speed and structure of college hockey, and their growth can shape the program's future. If Langlois misses significant time, Maine may need to redistribute his responsibilities and accelerate the development of other young defensemen. At the same time, the team will likely rally around his situation, using his recovery as emotional fuel. Hockey communities are famously tight-knit, and injured players often remain central to team identity even while sidelined. Many fans are hoping that Langlois recovers fully and returns to the lineup, not just as a player, but as a young athlete who has safely navigated a potentially serious head injury. Has hockey's physical edge gone too far? Here's where it gets controversial. Was the hit itself the problem, Or is the larger issue the culture that celebrates big collisions until something goes wrong? Berard's contact appeared to be a hard, shoulder-to-shoulder check along the boards, forceful, but within the general definition of a legal hit. Yet the outcome was terrifying, which raises difficult questions about how much risk is acceptable, even when players follow the rules. College hockey constantly walks a tightrope between preserving the sport's physical intensity and protecting the brains and bodies of young athletes. Many fans love the speed and contact, and players willingly accept a degree of danger when they lace up their skates. But as awareness of long-term effects of head trauma grows, arguments for tightening rules or altering techniques around board contact become harder to ignore. Some might say that changing the physical nature of hockey would ruin the game. Others argue that failing to evolve is what truly endangers it. Debate, responsibility, and your take. Protecting brain health has to be more than a slogan. It requires ongoing action from teams, coaches, leagues, and governing bodies through better education, stronger enforcement of safety rules, and a willingness to adjust the rulebook as evidence evolves. Incidents like the Langlois hit serve as painful reminders of the stakes and can act as catalysts for policy discussions and coaching changes at all levels. Even if a play is technically legal, the question remains, is legal always the same as safe enough for teenage and early 20s athletes? So what do you think? Has college hockey already done enough to safeguard players from serious head injuries? Or is it time to rethink what counts as an acceptable hit, especially near the boards? Do you believe hits like Berard's should still be part of the game, or should the rules move toward limiting that kind of contact to reduce risk? Share your honest view, whether you think the sport is fine as is or believe it needs major changes. This is exactly the kind of conversation that could shape hockey's future.